The gang's all here in the new story trailer for Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Fans, including myself, were wondering where Merrin and Greez were in the first trailer, but we now know that they are in the game, and we got some confirmation on other fan theories, and some new gameplay features and locations, so let's just get into it. The first shot is Cal and a Purge Trooper getting sucked out into space, which isn't a death sentence in the Star Wars universe. I was more worried about the ship, thinking it was the Mantis at first, but the interiors don't match up. Cal might commandeer an Imperial ship, which would explain the Purge Trooper, which, by the way, it doesn't look like they got the updated design we saw in Obi-Wan Kenobi. Maybe that was a new set of armor they had just rolled out to the Fortress Inquisitorius, or maybe it'll be relegated to Purge Troopers armed with blasters, or maybe we'll see the updated design later in the game. I don't know, but this is all just a quick flash of an action sequence before Cal says it's been a long 5 years as we cut to hyperspace and then Coruscant. We knew the game would take place 5 years after Fallen Order, and we knew we'd be visiting a city planet. We all assumed that would be Coruscant, but it's nice to see it from space for that confirmation. There are several shots of the Imperial capital throughout the trailer looking as beautiful as ever. Cal appears to be riding in an Imperial gunship, which we also see him fighting a handful of times. His dialogue says, "We've tried to resist," as he takes on the gunship alongside some new faces wearing yellow armor of some kind. I could see Cal siding up with a resistance group for the Coruscant segment of the game, similar to when he inadvertently joined Saw Gerrera's partisans on Kashyyyk in Fallen Order, and then maybe they successfully take that gunship. There's a shot later of it flying towards one of those pits in Coruscant skyline that will take ships down to the lower levels. Anytime I see that, I just think back to the cancelled game 1313. Star Wars has a long history of recycling unused concepts, so maybe we'll get to see pieces of this story take some inspiration from 1313. But now let's cut over to the new planet Kobo, which has been heavily featured in previous trailers and gameplay videos. Cal's voiceover goes on to say, "Fear and mistrust rule the galaxy," as we see members of the Bedlam Raiders roughing up an alien outside of a saloon. You can see Cal watching the exchange, and I have no doubt he'll be stepping in to help, making him a target of the Raiders. They're a new faction, and they're led by a Jedi character, Ravis. We've seen him in previous trailers as well, but IGN confirmed him to be a Jedi, meaning he should be very hard to beat because they're nearly invincible. We don't know much about the Raiders, but we do know they'll eventually ally themselves with the Jedi villain, but we'll come back to him. There's a shot of the Mantis plummeting towards a planet. I think that would be Kobo, as we've seen the ship crash landing there before. Kobo is new, and it's meant to be like a hub for the game. It's also supposedly designed to be far more open, allowing for exploration of new areas as you return with new gear or abilities. But next up, let's finally talk about Merrin. We can say for sure that she is in the game. I think we all assumed she would be, but it was scary not seeing her up until now. I've been hoping she would get more screen time in Survivor, and that also looks likely because she is seen fighting right alongside Cal as one of his companions. Bode Akuna was revealed in the last trailer to be one of Cal's partners, and I was hoping Merrin would be another addition because she briefly offers some assistance to Cal in the first game. Now we can see a Jedi and a Night Sister fighting side by side using the Force and magic. Interestingly, Merrin also seems to be using the Force on its own without any of the telltale green fire of magic, so maybe Cal has taught her a thing or two. Speaking of the fire, Merrin tells Cal that if he looks into it will warm him and keep him company, but if left unchecked, it will consume everything. That feels very strongly connected to the novel Battle Scars, which explores Merrin's relationship to her own fire quite a bit. I think here she's talking about a metaphorical fire, Cal's driving force, his family, because we see him hugging Greez in the midst of this speech, and I'll come back to that too, but I think Merrin is warning Cal of the classic Jedi struggle between love and attachment. Cal spent Fallen Order creating his found family. Now he might do anything to protect them, which can lead to a dangerous path for a Jedi. And as that speech finishes, we get a pretty intense look from him as he ignites his lightsaber. But let's run back to Greez. It looks like he and Cal are hugging after some time apart. I expect they'll reunite on Kobo. Maybe Cal damages the Mantis and needs to return it to Greez for repairs, and he'll probably be chewed out for whatever he did to the ship. One of the gameplay videos IGN released said Cal's mission was to find Greez on Kobo, so I think this scene will happen fairly early on. Hopefully, we reunite with Merrin, Greez, and Seer fairly quickly. You may also note that Greez has a mechanical hand now. If you want to know why, that's something else covered in Battle Scars, but I'll do a video closer to the launch of the game covering details like that you might want to know from the book. Okay, now I'm hopping into full-on tinfoil hat speculation for this shot of an orange, dusty planet, but fingers crossed for Korriban or Moraband, whichever you want to call it. Both have been used in canon, but that looks an awful lot like the Sith planet from Knights of the Old Republic, as well as Yoda's his visit in the Clone Wars. Crumbling statues and ruins and stuff. Awesome. I loved the tomb exploration in Fallen Order and would love to do that on Korriban this time around. There's also a quick shot of a platforming section with Cal double jumping and dashing midair and wall running. He's pulling out all the stops. Meanwhile, some machine appears to be trying to crush him. This feels similar to some action sequences in Uncharted where you're just running and gunning and jumping and trying not to die. I love that stuff. I have no idea what this planet is. It might be part of Kobo. The geography looks kind of similar, but the platform coming out of the fog looks so cool. TIE fighters flying all around. I cannot wait to fight my way to the top of whatever that is. But now let's talk about the Jedi villain guy that we've seen since the announcement trailer back at Celebration 2022 nearly a year ago. We've been speculating since we saw his gold robes that he might be from the High Republic, and I would consider that to be confirmed now. You can see the High Republic insignia right on the front of his robes, and he also blames Cal for letting the galaxy fall to this unworthy machine of an empire. You can see Bode is with Cal in the cutscene as well, but I love that we're getting some High Republic connection in this game. If you're unfamiliar, that era was about 200 to 300 years before this game when the Jedi and the Republic were in their golden age. Something happened to this character to put him in stasis, and he wakes up to find the Jedi Order and the Republic both gone. That's gotta be some serious whiplash. This might set him on a quest for vengeance. I could see him being a cautionary tale for Cal. This Jedi could fall to the dark side to avenge the family he lost, showing Cal exactly what could happen to someone who was supposed to be a member of the best version of the Jedi Order, but even he can lose his way. There's a quick look at one of the Jedi puzzle chambers that I know are spread throughout Kobo, but maybe on other planets as well. I can't recall what the IGN article said, but I love having these to mix up the gameplay a bit. It'll scratch that tomb rating itch I have, but it also feels similar to the shrines from The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild that were a lot of fun to tackle. They're optional, but offer solid rewards, and in Survivor's case, it sounds like they will help us boost our stats and abilities, and even the cosmetic rewards are much more varied than they were in Fallen Order. Some of Cal's final lines might give us the goal for the crew of the Mantis in this story. He says, "Hope might feel beyond our grasp, but I think we finally found somewhere the Empire can't reach us, a place that's worth fighting for, no matter the cost." First of all, that last bit tracks with my fears for Cal. If he'll fight no matter the cost, that could be him letting the fire consume him. We also see the crew looking at the galactic map. It looks like an asteroid, but maybe it's like a really big asteroid that people can live in, and it moves around so it would be hard for the Empire to track. Or maybe it's a red herring, and Cal is actually talking about an obscure planet. It's good to see that most of the crew is on the Mantis. Greez and Merrin and even Bode might all rejoin Cal on the journey. Maybe you can pick and choose who your companion is at any encounter. Maybe Greez will be an option too. But we have to ask, where is Cere? There's one shot of her this time around, not in her little mini archive or whatever it was we saw her in back in the earlier trailer. Battle Scars sets up some interesting stuff for her. She begins an interest in reclaiming lost Jedi artifacts, so maybe she could be a source of upgrades or gear that we return to over the course of the game. I hope she joins the crew though. It would feel like part of the family we're missing if she weren't around. But that's everything I took away from the latest and probably final trailer for Star Wars Jedi Survivor. We're just over a month away from its release, and I cannot wait to get my hands on the sequel. Even in this short trailer, I found a lot of potential for this story, and it all feels like classic Star Wars themes, just like Fallen Order. But the gameplay also continues to look fresh and exciting, like seeing Cal jump onto a jetpacked stormtrooper to take him down. Awesome. You can bet we'll be covering Survivor extensively when it's released on April 28th. Until then, let me know what you thought of the trailer in the comments. If you haven't already, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, follow us on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram, and consider checking out our Patreon page. As always, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.